what was that county clerk's name in Kentucky, I think it was, Kim. You know who I'm talking about? Who wouldn't do the gay marriages based on religion. I thought, oh my God, if Madeline were alive today, she'd be over at that courthouse and she'd be giving that woman a talking to. So, I think it's always timely, to be honest. I hope, that by reminding people who Madeline Marie O'Hare was, and by seeing the film, we don't take some of those rights for granted,
Was it unusual? I don't know how active Elizabeth Banks has been as a producer in work that she's not actually in. So, in terms of her role in this.
Yeah, they were, she and her husband, Max Handelman, they were very active in it. Particularly, they were there for the last 5 years. They brought the project to us. We looked for independent financing. Unfortunately, it's just not that easy to set up a movie about a murdered atheist. It's not like a huge genre.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
Is it easier to, it's interesting, is it easier to have people murdered that are God-fearing? Is that actually a thing?
You tell me, you see more movies than I do. But yeah, and then they were, incredibly, they were there every day on set. She was incredibly helpful with the casting, she and Max. We were great because they were very creative producers, which you don't often get.
And they also did not give up. They and Laura Rister, who came on a little bit later, kept trying to sell this project about a once famous murdered atheist, and kept trying, and finally Netflix stepped up to the plate. So it was just their persistence, along with Melissa sticking around and saying, "I'm there for you guys. I'm still there for you guys. I'm still there for you guys. Let's get this made." That made it happen.
Not that we needed her persuasion, but Banks actually wrote to say how much this meant to her and how much she wanted to support it. She really hoped we would be programming it, which we already knew we were, but we appreciated that support from a producer. For you, what an ensemble. So is there kind of as those of us who are not inside films always love to hear what it's like making them, if we can kind of hear from all of you.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm here because of Elizabeth. Actually, Elizabeth called, and Gary Barden, who's the casting director of this, had basically, I think, mentioned her to me, and I'd done a movie with her. And it was this movie came together extremely last minute, at least my understanding of it was sort of an instant go. And I think it needs to be mentioned. It was as fast as I've ever made a movie. I think, and it's a pretty low budget as you can get, which put a period element to it and makes it really difficult on the production, and incredibly challenging. And then there's wonderful stories that Melissa has, which I think are worth asking about the makeup process and how that happened. And but it was a strangely good, fun, easy movie to make, considering that the stuff inside of the hotel was gruesome and painful, and the collaboration of all of us, though, was quite like a play and quite fun for me.
Truth is always stranger than fiction, right? So hearing this story and reading the script, I was like, oh, good Jesus. You have to be a part of that,
How many days do you think we might have shot this movie in?
I was going to say 40.
Any other guesses?
15.
25.
15.
18.
That's why it was incredibly collaborative. We had all these great people working on it who busted their ass to make sure this looked a little bit bigger than a 18-day shoot.
I just want to say it was a total honor and thrill to be Melissa's mother.
and to work with Tommy O'Haver, who's one of the best directors I've ever worked with in a 59-year career. I got chills when I was watching the movie today. I think more than anything, I love doing history, real stories. And Melissa, I had the good fortune to know before the shooting. And when she did Frozen River, I met her and helped her get her Oscar dress and for The Fighter. And so I have that little honor of being part of her incredible success. And I love Melissa so much. You know, it's rare that you get to work with somebody that you love so much in real life, on screen. And so this was my opportunity. Thank you, Tommy. God bless y'all.
Yeah, I also want to say what an honor it was to work with Tommy and with Melissa as well, and Josh and Rory. You guys were all such fantastic people, and it's such an honor to be here at South by Southwest. You know, where everything really went down. I think this is an incredible time.
Jim, did you have a question?
Yeah, I do. First I want to ask Tommy and Irene. Yeah. Did you ever talk to Paul Krasner? Because Paul Krasner is how I learned about Madeline. Because she was a columnist for The Realist magazine. And it was always he was always exasperated, but believed in the freedom of speech, which is what The Realist was about. So if either of you did talk to him, I wonder what you came away with. And to Melissa, what did you learn about Madeline as a character? Because your work is always so deep that I assume that you really thought about what motivated this woman. It's not just greed, it's just not anger, but what did you learn? So the first question is to Tommy and Irene about Paul Krasner.
We didn't, although I actually have Paul Krasner's autograph sitting at home that I got when I was at a book fair at age 12, so that was interesting meeting him. Yes, she exasperated everyone. I mean, I guarantee that if she were up on the stage magically, she would have pissed off every single one of you by now, but you still would have gone, wow. You know, like, I love you, but I really hate you at the same time. You know, it's just so strong and so opinionated. So no, we didn't get to. There are so many, we're drowning in people who knew Madeline and the research that we had.
We were very lucky in that there was plenty of articles and plenty of Madeline's writings to draw from. A lot of Madeline's lines in this film are direct quotes from her. She left behind some zingers.
In answer to your question, the first thing I'll say is, you know, I did no research on Madeline Murray O'Hare, short of watching the many television clips that there are of her. I didn't do them to research her and find more historical information about her because Irene and Tommy had done such a thorough job of that. And what was I going to muddy the waters with some other idea about her? Tommy adored Madeline, and that was what drew me most of all to the project. To play somebody who is, to put it politely, seen as being difficult, it's hard. I mean, think about what Josh went through to bring such a complete and bold portrait of a vicious killer. Like, you gotta touch some part of your soul to get there. And so with Madeline, I knew that even though there was all this controversy around her, which I don't think a lot about, I trusted Tommy as my fearless leader, and was so lucky that it was Tommy O'Haver and not another schmuck you have to go work for nowadays. She was a human being, and she grew up in an environment, and her intelligence and passion, there was no room for in her family home, and there was no room for in the world. But she didn't give a fuck.
Do we know, is there since this was made with Netflix for Netflix, do we know when it will be available?
It's, I think it's March 24th.
March 24th, so that's very soon. This is its only theatrical sort of...
124 countries, so if you know people who live in other parts of the world, please let them know. March 24th, Netflix.
Oh, yes, go ahead, sure. I didn't get...
she's first. She's
fine.
first. She's standing.
I'll get to both of you,
Well,
it's
I
fine.
just want to follow up, and I understand activism, but it seemed to me like she's got some mental illness, and I wanted to know whether you found anything out about that, because the relationships with the kids and that is so dysfunctional.
It was dysfunctional.
You show me an American family that isn't dysfunctional, sweetheart.
So you don't think that she was mentally ill in any way?
I think...
No, I do not.
Okay.
No, I do
That's
not.
what I was curious about. Okay.
But part of me, when I was doing this, I'd read this book on borderline mothers, borderline personality disorders, and I thought, I did wonder a few times if she would be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. Eileen seems to think she's more bipolar.
The thing is she was so frustrated and so angry, and I keep saying that I love what she did. I love how hard she fought. I love, the way she channeled her anger, and I wouldn't want to be her kid. My own father's in the audience, and I would much prefer that.
Yeah.
So you got background.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you at the beginning, before the show started, you said this is going to be sick and twisted. So I thought, okay, I'm ready. This is going to be simple. And I was like, oh, you lowballed it. You downplayed the entire concept, and I see what you mean. It was very well done. But I was actually, you remarked on it earlier, but how difficult was it to be stuck in that tiny hotel room, for 18 days?
I thought it was awesome. I loved having them trapped in there because it brought out the worst in everyone, the worst and the best.
Yeah, these three gentlemen were so creepy. And
They were
terrible to me and sweet Juno and Melissa. No.
It was
but after we finished, Rory came up to me and was like, "Hey man, it was great working with you. You're a great actor." And I was like, "Who's that guy?"
I just want to say, I was told that Netflix had like all this money and they're taking over the world. We shot it in 18 days. We block shot a lot of it,
Yeah.
which is not fun if you're an actor. But you have to do what you have to do to make it, work.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, it's the first time I've seen it, and I thought you did a hell of a job. I thought all these people did a hell of a job. So, well done.
Thank you.
We were able to really find all of that, especially the most gruesomeness of it, in a lot of ways like a play. And in a lot of ways, we really had a good grasp, and the stage we were on was so ideal for what we were doing with their room and our room and the no man's land in between. And so the staging of it was much clearer than it often is in filming in many ways. And figuring out the whys and the how for it, it was an extraordinary, it was not the 18 days in the hotel room. We had a lot of other things to shoot too. But however many days we spent there, it was remarkable days of very intense shooting. All of us very safe, except probably the one or two times I pounded Josh too hard with that cane.
Well, this was a thrill for us to present the world premiere of us. We're so gratified about that. And not to take any thunder away from it, but for all the Melissa Leo fans out here, she's hearing something completely different tomorrow at 11:30 in the morning. So you should come back and see her in what we're showing tomorrow at 11:30 as well. But
Thank you so much for having us here. It's great.